step outside with me for a minute. We are going to look at a feeder together, the one hanging from the shepherd's hook near your fence. And I want you to watch it the way a blue jay watches it. Not from your window with a cup of coffee in hand, but from 15 feet away, at eye level with the perches, paying attention to what the thing actually does when the air moves through the yard. There. Did you see that? A slight rotation. Not dramatic, just a few degrees as a breath of wind came through. And again, just a fraction of an inch of tilt when the whole structure settled back to center. You barely noticed, and that is exactly the problem, because a blue jay hovering at the edge of the yard notices, and what it reads in that movement is not an invitation. It is a warning. Walk closer to the feeder and put your hand on the pole below it. Push it gently to one side. Watch how the whole structure responds, swinging and rotating, the feeding ports shifting, the perches dropping then rising as it finds its pendulum path again. Now imagine you are a bird, roughly the size of a blue jay, somewhere between 9 and 12 inches from bill to tail, weighing about 3 ounces, and you are trying to land on this thing. Your weight alone, distributed across a perch that was designed for a bird a third your size, is going to tip the structure significantly. The moment you land, the feeder moves. The moment it moves, every threat detection system in your nervous system activates, because unstable surfaces mean something specific to a bird that spends its entire life being hunted by one of the most capable raptors in North America. Cooper's hawks are built to take corvids. They are fast, highly maneuverable in tight spaces, and they hunt blue jays with enough regularity that the blue jay's entire behavioral architecture around landing and leaving surfaces has been shaped over evolutionary time by the need to launch quickly and cleanly from whatever it is standing on. A blue jay on a stable surface, a thick fence rail, a flat tree stump, the wide ledge of a barn window can orient its body in any direction and be airborne, moving at full speed within a fraction of a second. A blue jay on a surface that is swinging under its weight cannot predict which direction it will tip if it needs to push off. That uncertainty is not a minor inconvenience. It is, to the bird's nervous system, a disqualifying condition. The feeder fails the assessment before the bird has even reached for a seed. There is a second dimension to the instability problem that most birding advice never reaches, and it connects to what blue jays are actually doing when they interact with food, as opposed to simply eating it. Blue jays are not birds that arrive at a feeder hungry and start consuming immediately. They are evaluating food sources with a cognitive level of engagement that most small songbirds do not come close to. A chickadee at a feeder picks up a seed and goes. A blue jay picks up a seed and assesses it. This is not a behavioral quirk. It is the expression of a survival strategy built around storing food for winter, and the assessment process is how the bird determines whether a particular item is worth the energy cost of carrying it to a cache site. An unstable surface actively degrades the quality of that assessment, which means the hanging tube feeder is not just a safety problem. It is also a sensory problem, corrupting the data the bird needs to make decisions that affect its winter survival. 2 failure modes at once, from a single product design choice made entirely around human convenience. Let's walk around to the back fence for a moment. Look at the top rail. It is wide, flat, completely fixed, and has not moved since the day it was set. Now think about what a blue jay would experience if it landed here instead of on your hanging feeder. 2 feet land and the rail does not shift. The bird has a clear view in every direction. The nearest large tree is visible from here, maybe 40 feet away, an oak at the edge of the property. If anything approached from any direction, the bird could read it coming, orient toward its escape route, and be gone before the threat closed the distance. This is the environment a blue jay is evaluating when it decides whether to stay somewhere. Not the quality of the seed, at least not initially, the physical characteristics of the surface and the space around it. This is the observation that sits underneath the marketing phrase in the title of this video. The idea that the Amish somehow knew something about feeders that modern backyard birders do not. Let's take that phrase apart honestly, because it deserves honesty rather than mystification. There is no secret Amish formula for attracting blue jays. There is no ceremony or recipe passed through agricultural communities that the commercial birding world suppressed or forgot. What there is, stripped of the marketing wrapper, is a structural fact about traditional farm properties that happens to align almost perfectly with what blue jay biology requires, and it was not achieved through any deliberate wildlife management. It was achieved by building working farms. Walk with me through what a working traditional farmstead actually looks like from a blue jay's perspective. Heavy wooden fence rails, built to contain cattle, that do not flex or sway regardless of what lands on them. Flat stone edges of water, troughs that have not shifted position in decades. Wide timber ledges on barn windows and door frames. Rough-cut stumps at the edges of cleared areas, left where trees were felled because moving them was not a priority, offering exactly the kind of wide, stable, elevated platform that a blue jay needs to conduct its feeding routine properly. None of these features were designed for birds. All of them pass the stability assessment that a corvid runs on every surface it considers landing on, because they were all built and maintained to support agricultural work, which means they were built to be solid. There is one more element those traditional properties provided that is worth naming, because it shows up consistently in places where blue jays are reliably present across all seasons and is almost never present in yards where they are not. Native trees, oak trees in particular, producing acorns in autumn that blue jays collect, assess with that same deliberate shaking evaluation, carry in their gular pouches to cache sites spread across their territory, and bury as the foundation of their winter food supply. The presence of a mature oak on or immediately adjacent to a working farm was not strategic wildlife management. It was the natural consequence of trees being left at field edges for shade, lumber, and the mast crops that fed livestock. But the blue jays that found those trees and cached their acorns built territorial commitments to those properties that persisted across generations, because the oak kept producing and the property kept providing what the bird needed alongside it. A platform feeder with peanuts can begin the process of attracting blue jays. An oak tree is what makes them stay for years. That stability is the first element. Come back to your yard now and look at what can be done about it without spending a significant amount of money or doing anything elaborate. The hanging feeder does not need to be replaced with an expensive commercial platform feeder. It can be replaced with a piece of untreated cedar lumber, 8 or 12 inches wide and perhaps 16 inches long, screwed firmly to the top of a fence post so that nothing moves when something lands on it. That is a platform feeder. That is the kind of surface a blue jay needs. The material is almost irrelevant. What matters is that it does not sway, tip, rotate, or respond in any meaningful way to the weight of a bird landing on it. Test it by pushing down hard on one corner. If it flexes, add another mounting screw. If it holds completely rigid, it passes. Now let's talk about what goes on that surface, because the food matters too, just not in the way most commercial birding advice suggests. The bird lands. It picks up a food item. It holds it in its bill and shakes it laterally, feeling the weight distribution of the contents against the mass of the casing. It is assessing whether this item is dense enough and nutritionally valuable enough to justify the energy expenditure of carrying it to a cache site, sometimes over a significant distance, and burying it for winter retrieval. Whole raw peanuts in the shell pass every dimension of this test. They have meaningful individual mass. They have a shell that the bird can feel the weight of separately from the contents inside, and when the peanut passes the assessment, the bird can load it into the elastic gular pouch in its throat alongside other selected peanuts and carry the whole load to a cache site efficiently. Raw is the only specification beyond whole and in the shell that matters from a health standpoint, because salted peanuts introduce sodium at concentrations that avian kidneys cannot handle safely over time. The difference in cost between salted and raw peanuts at a feed store is negligible. The difference in what they do to the bird is not. Walk back toward the house and look at the bird bath on the way. Notice how still the water is. That water has been there since Tuesday. To a blue jay flying its territorial patrol above the roofline, it is largely invisible, because still water does not make a sound. and at the altitude a corvid patrols, the absence of acoustic information from a water source is functionally the same as the absence of the water source. A single drip falling from an attachment on the rim of that bird bath and striking the water surface below would change everything about how that bath registers to birds flying above this yard. Traditional farm properties had moving water constantly, not by design but by operation. The farms that attracted blue jays year after year were acoustically different from quiet suburban yards, and the difference was water in motion. Adding a simple drip emitter to your bird bath produces the exact signal those farm properties produced accidentally. Come back to the platform now and look at the full picture. A wide, fixed surface that does not move. Whole raw peanuts in the shell. A drip-equipped bird bath in an open area with sight lines in every direction. These three things address the three most common reasons blue jays avoid yards ostensibly set up for them. Correct all three, and you have not discovered anything mysterious. You have simply done what working farms did by accident for generations, provided a physical environment that communicates safety, efficiency, and reliability to an animal that reads those signals with remarkable precision. The formula was always the biology. Now you have the biology, and the rest is just hardware. If you found this kind of walk through the actual mechanics useful, let us know in the comments what yard setup question you want looked at next. And if something in this video finally explains what you have been watching happen in your own yard, give it a like and subscribe, because there is a lot more of this coming.